Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Caught me with a mouthful. All right, TGIF, right? Martinez, I'll get to your question in a second. Well, the answer is I don't know, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I'm going to give my presentation. We'll talk about what went on in the high yield funds this week. Then I'll come back and we'll shoot the shit. I got a drink. I got a cookie. Hope you guys brought something. All right. Been a good week. What's up, Green Dog? Thanks for being here. Okay, let's look and see how the market ended up. All right, the market ended up. Let's see. Oh, wow, we bounced a little bit into the close. I kind of zoomed in there. I was focusing in on this gap that we left open after the election. I'm really focused on that. That was a gigantic gap between Monday night's close and Tuesday morning's open. Goes from about 576 to 585 on the SPY. That gap should be, the market should be bullish as long as it's above the gap and bearish if it's under the gap. The gap ought to support it if it hits it from the top side, which is what it did. It came down and went into the gap from the top side. That it ought to bounce, which is what it's done so far. So we'll see if it continues to bounce. But I say, as long as that gap's open, clear sailing ahead for the market. If that gap closes, that gap is kind of calling BS on the Trump election. If that gap closes, it means all the excitement from the Trump election has unwound and gone the other way. All right. Let's see what we got going on. All right, let's check out the Altiverse. Let's check out we got the Alti grid. Basically, the Alti grid is just everything's a freaking caller. He had it CrowdStrike, MondoDB, and leverage semiconductors, and just basically put everything on a caller. And it was a good day to do that because the market pulled back. And he made these trades yesterday. A few days ago, he didn't have on a lot of callers. He had on some callers, but he also had on some other strategies. I'll be interested to see if he was calling for the market to pull back, and that's why he went to all callers, or if it's just a coincidence that it happened to be all callers. All right, well, now let's check out the Altiverse. All right, so we look over at the far right. Alti, the ETF, was down 82 bips. The constituents, that make up the stocks, were down a point. So we got 80% of the downside. Let's see how the constituents did. DJT was up a little bit. Coinbase had a good day. HIMS was soft again, disappointing performance. Was not able to keep it up. Mara looking good. MicroStrategy's looking good. All the DeFi and crypto ones are looking good, whereas some of the normal, what I call normal, like triple leverage NASDAQ was down. More just the standard old school technology was down. Baba was down 2%. Billy was down 1%. CrowdStrike was down 2%. MondoDB was down 4%. Leverage semis were down 9%. But there were some bright spots too. Planeteer was up 11%. Great job. Great job. All right, so now let's check out the index buffer report. Let's see how we did in index land. Oh, man, I meant to bring my microphone. I hope it's loud enough. Damn it, I forgot to go inside to get the microphone. I'll try to speak up. All right, I just don't like SPY-T catching that much downside, although they look better than T-SPY does at this point in time, and T-SPY looks better than or T-SPY looks worse than WDTE. Lots of downside today with the Defiance funds there. JEPI looking pretty good. And I would say SPY-I is the best out of the S&P based funds, high yield funds today. You'd also have to say, I mean, iSpy is not looking great, and XDTE also outperformed on the downside. Now, XDTE gets penalized by gaps down, and we had a big gap down this morning, so that certainly didn't help XDTE out. All right, so now we're over here in the NASDAQ land. Boy, look at KQQQ down 2.2%. Wow. Golly, triple QY was down more than 2%. Triple QT was down a lot. QDTE was down more than either of those other two that I just mentioned. QDTE outperformed on the downside. Of course, like I always remind you guys, it gets penalized by the gap. If it would do options like the way Defiance does, it wouldn't get penalized by the gap because it sells the night before, so it doesn't get penalized by the gap. However, occasionally the gap will help you out. So if you sell the night before, you also do not get the occasional bonus that the gap gives you, that a bullish gap gives you. All right, let's see what else is going on. Really, there's not a lot of buffer on the buffer report today. They're all down just about as much. Even QILD down just about as much as the parent. Look over here, RYLD, Menendez brother, beating the parent. Bali beating the parents on the downside. I mean, not a lot really looking great. YBTC, Maxi, that's about all there is that's really looking good. But then of the ones that just aren't down as much as the other ones, I mean, iSpy looks really nice. And ULTY, give it up to ULTY. It has probably the most buffer on this whole chart. Well, IWMI looks really good, but ULTY looks even better. So the funds of the day were ULTY, IWMI, right? Yeah, IWMI did better than Y today. Definitely Y, IWMI. All right, and also we'll put iSpy in there too. SPY-I had nice relative performance. All right. You guys drinking a beer? Did you guys BYOB something? You got to love Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon just hits different. I just love it. I just love it. All right, so let's do the single stock buffer report now. Well, even the single stocks, there's just not a lot of buffer. I mean, the stocks that are down are all down just about as much as the parent asset. NVDY, great ETF, catching all the downside just about. BABA or Babo catching a ton of downside. So let's see. Now there's the mailman. So hang on, I'm going to go get Jackson. Hang on. Come here, Jackson. I just moved Jax closer to me where I can hang on to him. But he'll probably bark at the mailman. Jackson, how about no bark at the mailman? How about I relocate this a little bit? Let's move. Okay, Jackson, you stay here. Okay, buddy? Okay. Let me just hang on to Jackson here. His collar's not on very good. I don't want him barking and chasing the mailman. All right, so let's look at these single stocks. So which ones are doing the best on the upside? You would have to give it to YBTC or YBIT. Sorry, YBIT, and you would also have to give it to Tesla. That's incredible. Outperforming Tesla. That's impressive. I mean, look at DISO is catching damn near all the upside, probably 90% of the upside. I mean, we'll take that too. There's a question about SMCI getting delisted. I haven't heard about that yet. Hopefully one of you guys in the comments can answer the question. But there's a question about SMC I and Y in the comment. I hadn't heard about that yet. You have to say also GDXY looks really good. Tons of buffer. Tons of buffer. Okay. I'll take questions now if you guys want to talk about stuff. Let's pull up a chart of Bitcoin real quick, though. Jackson, just calm down, please, buddy. Okay. So here's a 30-minute chart of Bitcoin. It's not at an all-time high, but it is this afternoon. It rebroke out, and it kind of confirmed yesterday's. Well, no, it broke out in the middle of the night. This trade's 24 hours. It started breaking out around 88,000 last night, broke out, came back and confirmed it, tested the point of the breakout, and has since taken off. But the all-time high is 93.5 or something. We're still underneath that. Let's pull out a daily chart, but then I'll look at questions. This is just really important here because this is in, they're in clear water. When they broke out, they're in clear sailing here. But this is a place where fake outs happen also. But it's been enough days now. I think we could rule out a fake out. Jackson, could you please not bark, Jackson? He's not doing too good, really. All right. I'm going to look at questions from you guys now. I appreciate you guys for being here. Oh, volume's fine. Great, Martinez. Okay. Yeah, Green Dog, I appreciate you for being here, too. I don't know if I recognized you from any of these streams before, but anyway. All right, let's look at, I want to show you guys some option trades. We're going to look at some ULTY option trades that Jay Pestrochelli has on this week and see how they've been doing. So we'll start right here with ULTY, this NVDA. This one's down $35,000 right now. Jackson, please knock it off. This looks more like something I would do, but no, it says I forget what he did. That was a complex trade. I think Jay was rolling from one position to another, one strategy to another, I should say. All right, here's the CrowdStrike trade. This is a caller. So he owns shares of CrowdStrike, 14,400 shares at around $300, $330 or something. Then he owns, then he sold a call. He sold the exact same amount of calls to correspond with the amount of shares. So it'd be 1,440 or 144. It'd be 144. My bad. He sold 144 calls, got around $9 for them a few days ago. They're basically worthless now. Great job. But then he took some of that $9. He took $6 that $9 and bought puts. So he still keeps $3 for himself. He doesn't have to worry about downside underneath the put strike, which is 305. So it's a pretty good trade. Anyway, that was the trade in CrowdStrike, the ULTY trade in CrowdStrike. So let's see what else we have. For Rocket Labs, this trade's an $850,000 winner. Jay's killing it in this one. Now, this right here is also a caller. This is stock plus a short call. So it's a covered call with a put. A covered call where you spend part of the money from the short call, because when you sell something, you earn the money. They sold this for 70 cents. It's actually worth more now. It's worth $1.90 now. But anyway, that one was sold for 70 cents. This option was bought for 45 cents. They took about half the money they made and used it to buy the insurance. Anyway, turns out they didn't need the insurance because the market went up. Well, the market's trading about 19, and this is a big winner. A big winner for Jay. Great job, Rocket Labs. What else does Jay have here? This trade is crazy. This ULTY. I called it a six-legged beast. Oh, my God. This thing, I forget exactly what he was doing in here. It doesn't matter. Disney's price went up. You could see the profit loss graph. This one, he's up 700,000 on. Nice job. That's Disney. Now, I copied his Disney trade and gave it to you guys as a do it at home. You could play along at home, the home game, and it finished. I put it in twice by mistake, but it finished $1,288 ahead. Here it is. Do you see this area, the flat spot? You guys know about the flat spot. That spot. The trade is like an iron condor at that spot, but unlike an iron condor, it has unlimited potential on the upside, potential to make more money on the upside. You get some bonus money. Well, that's what happens if you get over 111.43 on this trade, which we did. And, now we're up $1,100. If Disney keeps going up, this trade could be a $4,000 winner. This trade doesn't expire till next week. Okay, so I gave you guys a bearish trade in NVIDIA, reverse max convexity, and it's working out. It's working out well. It doesn't expire till next week. But if NVIDIA starts selling off, this trade could be worth $2,000 or $3,000. And NVIDIA has to go up 8.2% before this trade turns into a loser. Not bad. Not bad at all. Here's the DJT trade that Jay has on. This one's up $42,000. He's in the flat spot on this trade. Even though the DJT price had pulled back, from election night, it's down from like 40 or something, 30. But anyway, even though it's pulled back, Jay's all right because he's had on a giant collar and he's just collecting premium. He sold a put at the 20 strike. As long as it's above 20 but under 65, Jay just sits here and collects premium off this trade. ULTY has had a pretty good month. Well, that's about all on the option trade stuff we have to look at. What are you guys going to do this weekend? Do you guys have any plans? Yeah, I appreciate you being here, Tom. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, good question. And I'm going to ask him that, Thomas, because look at my screen. I have it. Well, I had a demonstration I could have shown you early, but my trade expired. I was trying to think of something to show you. I put the Disney trade on two different ways. I put it on where it expires this week, which is the smart way to do it. I don't know why he did it for next week. I don't get that. But he's going to be here Wednesday, and that's already on my list of stuff to ask him. But I did it both ways. And to tell you how it came out, I did it in this week and I did it in next week. The one in this week made more money because the options, the time premium of the options I sold all the way expired down to zero. The options in the one that I didn't do till next week, now it's up $1,200. It's doing fine. Check out this Disney trade. I hope some of you guys did this. This right here, sell two puts to finance two calls. That's what the trade's profit and loss graph looks like. It's a pretty good looking trade. But yeah, it doesn't expire till the 22nd. Like I said, I did it both ways, and just have to take my word for it because now that's I guess I can show you. So there's Disney up 1288. Okay, if you go to expired or close, bullish max C. Oh, there it is. Okay, the one that for this week was worth $1,500, same spread. It was worth an extra $300. I suspect if you would have lasted till next week, the other one would have been worth maybe $1,500 by that point in time next week. But yes, I definitely want to ask Jay that. I have no idea what he was thinking. I would much rather make 10% in 2 days than 10% in 8 days or something. But in any event, Jay's killing it. That ULTY, he's killing it. the other thing, Tom, and everyone else is he still has some up. Look, there's my Disney. Where's his Disney? ULTY. Six-legged beast. Okay. Yeah, look at this freaking thing. He's still got upside in it. He's got upside all day long. I mean, such a fun time to be an option trader. I never thought I would get excited about ETF trading. ETFs, I mean, but I didn't think at the time there'd be ETFs that actually did complex option strategies. It's really, really a fun time. And I'm really looking forward to the Jay interview next week, just to kind of give you guys a heads up. It's gonna be exclusively option trading stuff, because everyone else, Rod and all these other people, I don't want to ask them about, hey, are you going to split? I don't care about any of that stuff. Anyway, I mean, I care about it, but other people have already asked him a million times. We can go find that out. So I'm asking him, how does he pick the trades? How much credit does he go for? What strikes does he use? What delta does he use? That's what I'm interested in. And I get the idea that a lot of you guys are interested in that stuff as well. And of course, yes, we can also ask him some general questions, of course. My point is, though, I really want to drill down on the nuts and bolts of the strategies, because I think that's my niche, and no other influencer is doing that, or really has the ability to, that I've seen, as far as with the option strategy type stuff. But in any event, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's Wednesday. And then I have Cy from Tap Alpha on Tuesday. He rescheduled last week. Well, he's going to be on Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, be there both of those days. So now I'm going to look and see if you guys have any questions. We can shoot the shit a little bit. Hey, what's up, Michael? Michael, I feel bad. I mention you sometimes. I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about you. I'm not talking about you, but I mentioned that there's a guy named Michael that was disappointed because I quit covering Defiance, and I feel terrible about it. I really do. I really do. But anyway, I think my new niche is better, and I'll try to circle back. And I still like Defiance a lot, but this is more interesting for me to cover. But anyway, okay, Michael, let's see what you asked today, though. So what do you got? You think they'll pay better next month? Dibs and hold out. Okay. Well, here's what I think. I don't know on if they'll pay better. What did they pay this month? 82 cents. Was that disappointing to people? What did they pay last time? 81 cents. I guess that was kind of disappointing because they were paying more than $1 a little while back this summer, right? So I don't know on I don't know. Here's what I do think. I think the NAV should do better because Jay doesn't have any trades that have unlimited downside. Now, it doesn't mean you can't lose money, but all these trades have some type of capping, so it cuts off some of like the really bad stuff that can happen to you. I think what happened, the reason why this went from 20 to 10 so fast is they were doing covered calls. Covered calls is a very safe, sane strategy. I'm always talking about that Warren Buffett does and everything. That's all true, but that's true. But in addition to that, they do catch some downside, and especially when you do them on small stocks. You sell a covered call on a stock that's 20, and even if you get $5 for the cover, you sell the 25 strike for $5, you think you're killing it because you made an IV of freaking 7,000 or something, but then the stock opens the next morning at 6. I mean, great. You're glad you got the 5. You're glad you got the 5 points. 5 points from 20. But you're in at 15. The stock opens at 6. And that happens all the freaking time when you're trading. It's happened to me more times. Oh my gosh. When you're trading covered calls on small stocks. I guarantee you, I wasn't covered ULTY, but ULTY got stuck with a couple of stocks like that. And their NAV just went straight down. But that was around the time that we all figured out what was going on. And we started bitching to Jay about catching more upside. And that was about the time he switched everything to catch more upside. So I'm really impressed with how YieldMax is doing since he switched the formula to catch more upside, switched the covered call spreads. We haven't had enough time on ULTY for me to make for anyone really to say, but I like the strategies. Right now, I'm just trying to reverse engineer his strategies and that kind of stuff. But so the jury's still out on ULTY. What do you guys think of it? Yeah, my name in real life is Michael. But let's see. My parents didn't really name me Max Convexity. Yeah, Green Dog, I hadn't seen you around here before. I appreciate you being here. But all of these other guys are regulars. I recognize, of course, Michael Thomas Martinez, and wonder where all. Well, there's a couple guys that still aren't here yet. Hopefully, if we keep talking a little while longer, they'll be here. All right, so let's do this. Did you guys? Let me show you something. I think this is pretty damn cool. Let's look at the retirement simulator. And what do you want to simulate today? Let's do a guy that has, let's see if a guy has $300,000 and that's all can retire. Okay. You know, using the high yield funds. It's going to be tough. So, okay. So portfolio C will be the 60-40, or I don't know. Portfolio C is the max factor. Okay. Portfolio B is 60-40. Is that right? I thought. No, portfolio B is not 60-40. All right. Portfolio A is 60-20 plus a conservative high yield allocation. Okay. So that means 60% stock, 20% bonds, and then, or other fixed income, and then 20% various high yield funds. And I chose the lowest paying ones, so conservative, you know, so steady ones like SPY-D, SCHD, QILG, BNDI. Anyway, just to see. So that's just a way to look. That's a very conservative fund. And you can make on your $300,000 retirements, you can live off, if you can live off $700 a month, $172 a week. And of course you can't. So we're going to have to do some more work on that. Now, hopefully you have a check. Hopefully you have another source of money. If you only have $300,000 retirement, hopefully you're married or something. But let's see what we could do. Let's see what we could do without getting too much erosion, without just blowing our account up. Okay. We're going to put in a good portfolio. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to stick with the 60-20, but we need a lot of income, right? Because I mean, $300,000 isn't that much money anymore. I just want to go straight through here and blank all these out to zero. Let's see. So I'll start a backspace, enter. I appreciate your patience, guys. Okay, so here we are, retirement simulator. Okay, so we have 80%. We're 60 stocks, 20 bonds. Well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to forget about bonds. We only got $300,000. Bonds ain't cutting it, okay? So we're going to go 40% in high yield because we have to. We have to retire. So let's get some stuff that's stable. 40% in high yields. We're going to go 5% in 8 different funds. So, but we're going to need some money in here too, though. But and some stability. We'll do 5% in SPY-I, 5% in FEPI. How about 5% in SVOL? 5% in IWMI? Why? I mean, I think so. Let me make sure that, okay. Let's see how many percent is that. Okay, we're at 80%. So we have 20 more percent to go. Okay, you know I love me some triple QY. So that's one of the best funds out there. Maybe add in 5% of JIPQ for stability and a lot of upside so we get some more upside. All right. Now, let's put in 5% of the highest yielding one we could think of for yield. So remember, this is a year ago. We're going back to like last November. So at the time last November, it would have been Coney or Misty or whatever. We'll just say 5% of Coney. I'm not seeing Coney. There it is. 5% Coney. You know, we only have $300,000. We're going to need some income. So let's also do 5% in another single stock. We'll just go Tesla. Okay. And I know we wouldn't really do it because we know how bad it sucks, but we didn't know that. I mean, we know it was down. We didn't know that last year. I'm just trying to simulate what this type of portfolio, what type of return you should get and what type of erosion you should expect. All right. So there we go. Is that 100%? Let's see down the bottom. Yeah, it's 100%. Okay. So portfolio A is making $700 a month. How much do you think portfolio B made? Now, he doesn't have any bonds. 60% stocks and he's 40% high yield. He's breaking the max convexity rule, which says no more than 20%. But he's retired. He needs income. I mean, what are you going to do? In the old days, he didn't have a chance. He would have had to go to Walmart or start selling pot or something. But not anymore. Not anymore. Okay, so portfolio A, $700 a month. Portfolio B, $3,600 a month after taxes. Who says you can't make money after taxes in these? So if you would have gone back a year ago today and bought that portfolio, and it's not that crazy of a portfolio. I mean, you know, you could support yourself on a $300,000 retirement. Let's look at the dead factor. It's 1.6%. Okay, that kind of equates to the 4% rule in retirement planning, or it does. It directly relates to it. So in other words, we would have to plan again if it was more than 4% erosion. We would go back to the drawing board and mix some other stuff in there. So erosion's not a problem. Dead factor's not a problem. So this guy right here, so he started with $300,000. The other thing, he ended with $355,000. He got some NAV return in addition to making $3,600 a month, which is $122 a day. You could live on $122 a day, very, very, very freaking modestly, but you could do it. All right. Well, the max factor portfolios, those do something different. Those are optimized for, we'll talk about those. I need to make a full show on the max factor method just this weekend. But in any event, I really like what we can do with this simulator. And I like how we can test different scenarios and see if it would be how much erosion it would have cost. I put some things in here before where it said dead factor of like 20% and stuff. And that's obviously no bueno. You know, that go back to the drawing board when you do that. That's what I do anyway. Do you guys like the retirement simulator? All right, I'm trying to catch up with the letters now. Hopefully you guys are talking to each other too, which you are. That's good. Okay, IWMY continues to erode. He's out of it. Okay, yeah. I still have hopes on it. IWMY. I'm just reading these. I had hopes, but when I broke even, that was it. Okay, well, at least you broke. At least you're out. Beto is killing it for sure. You know what? I would say IWMY has probably the more erosion than any other fund. Because, of course, the erosion is just the dividend. So IWMY pay, or more than any other index fund. IWMY is the highest paying of the index funds. It doesn't pay as high as some of the single stocks. So, yeah, it definitely has the most erosion. And, you know, that it kind of goes hand in hand with the most income, too. Or it does go hand in hand. All right, so let's see what else you guys are talking about here. You think they're going to pay hefty distributions next month? I hope so. I don't see why not. All right, Martinez, what are you in? You're in Coney, Misty, and Vidi, and Tesla. Well, that's a pretty good. That's not too far different from the Max Factor portfolio. Um, that's a good portfolio. I bet you have you done pretty well this year. I bet you've done pretty well. What's up, retired cop? I'm glad to see you here. Yeah, I am looking pretty comfortable. I was just telling everybody Friday afternoon just hits different than Thursday afternoon or than Sunday afternoon. I just love me some Friday afternoon. And I don't even drink beer anymore, but I have sparkling water. No, but I'm excited. I got some work to do this weekend. I'm going to get that video ready on. Well, I got a couple things I'm really excited for this weekend. One of them I'm really excited for Thomas to see, but all of you guys, but it's an allocation one on something called the Dragon Portfolio. It's going to be right up Thomas's alley. I'm working on that video. And then also my Max Factor metric is pretty damn cool too. So we're going to be looking for some videos this week. Hang on. All right, I'm trying to avoid the sun, moving from the sun. But anyway, I'm going to make this Friday afternoon thing a regular deal. Let's see here on the floor of my garage. But yeah, this will be a regular deal. This is like the third Friday in a row, and I even remember to publicize it a few hours in advance this time. I think I notified everyone around 12. All right. So Michael wants opinion on GRNY. GRNY. Okay. What the hell is GRNY? GRNY. I mean, I ought to know. It's got to be some yield max fund because it ends in a Y. GRNY. I don't know. Put it in there. So I guess it's probably some new high yield fund. I don't know. Oh, the Tom Lee Fund. Does that stand for granny or something? What's the joke? I don't get. Is they call him a granny or a... Anyway, okay. Tom Lee. Okay. Tom Lee, granny from Tidal. I don't know from... Oh, granny's a Tidal fund? Oh, cool. Okay, well, I love Tidal funds. I will cover it. I will do... That's the only reason I did something on the fire fund. I don't really care that much about the fire stuff, but it's Tidal, and it's Mike Venuto's deal, and plus it's cool, and I know you guys like it. But absolutely, I will get in the middle of GRNY. Now they also have a fund coming out. I go through the SEC database all the time on Tidal for Tidal, and they also have a fund coming out, or I think maybe that's already out. That's called something like Subversive Politics or something. But somehow they take the senators and politicians' trades and they copy trade them and put it in a portfolio. I really don't think that stuff works all that good. But I don't even want to get started about that. But anyway, it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. So the Tom Lee one went straight down since inception. Yeah. I wonder how long it's, I guess I could pull it up on the other page. Yeah. What about Inverse Kramer? I wonder how the Inverse Kramer fund's doing. but this, back to the congressional trading and stuff, I've just seen so many times that doesn't work. Because one thing, the congressmen, senators, they don't have to report exactly. They have some leeway in when they can turn the trade in. And by the time it's lots of times you can't do anything. It's too late to do anything about it. Also, lots of congressmen and senators have no idea what they're doing. Zero. And you're following their trades, and anyway. I'd like to talk to Mike Venuto. Maybe he has a better system, but I'm not real excited about just copy trading Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi and her husband they sold Google the last day of the year, 23. No, it was in 22. Last day of the year, they sold like $600,000 worth of Google. Everyone said, oh, Google's going to crash. Look, Nancy, she's out. It's because of the antitrust. No, that was the exact time you needed to buy Google. That was like at 95. It was at the exact low. They were selling for tax loss harvesting, obviously. But you get idiots on Twitter that have no idea what a tax loss harvesting is, or when a rich guy sells stock on the last day of the year, that's usually what's going on anyway. And it turned into a big thing. But I'm jaded on following other people's trades, especially politicians. All right, let me try to catch up with the comments here. So, all right, retired cop, what did you do? You bought 9,000 shares of WiMAX for $16.25, and the NAV's been pretty solid. Okay, so let me ask you, retired cop, did you get that after the formula change? Did you pick it, or how long have you had it? Hey, happy Friday. I appreciate that. Yeah, $16.50 is a good price for. I mean, that is a good price. Talking about political insider trading, shaking my head. Well, I mean, I was just shooting the shit. But anyway, all I'm saying is I idolize everything Tidal does, and they have an ETF that copy trades the politicians. I'm just saying I'm not a big believer in copy trading politicians. I think they're idiots. They have no idea what they're talking about. And even if some of them are corrupt, even if they buy a stock in a corrupt company and it's based on something they know, I don't think by the time the report gets to you, it's enough for you to make any money off it. I don't think there's any edge in following congressmen. That's all I'm saying. That's just, that's my opinion. Okay. But anyway, you guys going to be here next week for my Jay Pestricelli interview and my interview with, who else do I have? I have Jay and Cy. And it's going to be back-to-back days, and they're both going to be live on YouTube. I'm not going to record them. I'm just going to go. Live now with Jay. I'll have a bunch of questions to ask him. You guys can put questions in the comments, and he'll look at the questions in the comments while I'm asking him questions, and he'll pick questions out to answer. So yeah, definitely be there. It's 1:00 on. It's 1:00 my time Central. 1:00 Central on Tuesday. So the market's going to be open, and I'm going to ask him everything. I'm going to figure out why in the hell did he do that Disney trade with the week left? What in the hell was he thinking? And also he did a trade, and he did one of those loaded dice trades, and he only took a 5% yield where I usually require it to get 10% of your max risk. Well, he did one in Kava for only 5%. To me, that seems like it's not worth it. Because if Kava should miss earnings and drop, like what happened to Applied Materials today, you could lose the other 95% really fast like that. Anyway, but I just think you should at least get 10%. Yes, because of course, then the stock can still miss earnings and drop, but at least you got 10% before when you only get 5%, you have to be right 20 times for every one time you're wrong. If you get 10%, you'll have to be right 9 times for it's just math. It all comes down to math, right? Yeah, I can't wait for my interview with Jay. It's going to be really options. Oh, here's my dog. Hey, Aspen. This is my friend's dog, actually. This is my friend's dog. But anyway, I'm watching him today. Jackson, why don't you come here and get on the live YouTube? Come here. Let me see Jackson. Jackson, you can be on. Come here. Oh, this dog is so pretty. This is a really sweet dog. He's so sweet. And Jackson's been working out. He's a little on the heavy side, and I'd had an injury, and I hadn't jogged much this spring anyway, but I'm recuperated. And Jackson and I've been hitting it every day. We had a good run/walk today, but he had to go on weight control dog food. And but here, give me 6 months or a year, and I'm going to have him back down to his fighting weight. He weighs 67. He's supposed to weigh 63. So I'm working on it. All right, so let's see what Tom wants me to do. Ask Cy why SPY frequent. Yeah, good question. I'm thinking maybe it has to do with the wide bid ask spread, or I don't know. Well, I'm going to ask him why it trades at a premium to NAV. I'm going to ask him that exact. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant, Thomas. I will ask him that exact question. Okay, question. Surf and Wine. Thoughts on Round Hill versus WDT? I mean, it's a personal opinion on that one. Let's think about it this way. I'm trying to think, if if you knew the market was going to go up, it'd be round hill since it's uncapped at night. But also round hill should do a little bit better on the way down too. And how do I know that? Because round hill's dividend's a little bit higher. The Defiance funds just pay 20%. Round hill, it varies. It goes up and down, but it's more around 25 or 30. Sometimes it's more, but I would say on an average. So bigger the dividend, the bigger the buffer. That's all there is to it. That's the one problem with SPY-T is it has very little buffer, but it also is impeded on the upside very little, almost not at all. So, on that one is personal opinion. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everyone likes round hill. I don't have a problem with round hill. Just get round hill. I mean, here's a good rule when you're here's a good rule on any of them. Get the one, if you can afford, if the 20% income from Defiance is enough for you, choose that one. Because also the less yield, the less risk. But if you need more, if you're stressed a little bit and you need 30% to make your numbers work, go with QDTE. I think they're very similar. Oh, but then also by the same token, if you need like 40 or 50% to make your numbers work, if you need a higher yield or something, you can mix in some triple QI or some WDTE. I was comparing round hill to SPY-T and to QQQT when I was talking about 20% versus 30%. I read the question again. So, okay, round hill event against triple QI. I mean, I like triple QI better, but it just depends on it depends. But also you can use about half as much. Even triple QI has twice the depletion, but you only need about half as much because it pays about twice as much. They're all about the same. I mean, or they're all somewhat interchangeable. What's Retired Cop down here talking about? What's he saying here? You actually bought WiMAX at the beginning of August. That was a great time to buy WiMAX. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, dude. I bet you're doing well. I thought the market was going to keep going down. Remember in the beginning of August, I thought, so I was all worried about the election and I was worried about the recession and about the end of the year. It turns out it was unfounded, but oh well, I'm sorry. But, that my mom used to always teach me 95% of life's worst fears are never realized or something like that. Now, I don't know if that's true or it's an old wife's tale. I have a feeling it's an old wife's tale since my mom was an old wife, but, Yeah, but that was a good job. I echo your sentiment, Michael, with Retired Cop. That was a great job. Let me show you something. Let's speaking of that. Here's a trick I do. Have you guys ever done this trick? It's a market timing trick. Here's the signal. All right, what you do is you get we'll use the cues. All right, and we need a daily chart. Okay, so wonder if we had a system and if we get a close outside the Bollinger Bands, underneath the Bollinger Bands, but then we get within the next day or two, we get a close back inside the Bollinger Bands. So like this, here's your typical one. Close outside the Bollinger Bands the very next day, and the next day after that, two closes with inside the Bollinger Bands. That's a spot you could take a low risk entry to buy. You would be wrong if the market drops under the prior low. You're wrong. That's where you put your stop loss. You could buy the market right here with the stop loss right here and try to hit the other Bollinger Band. Lots of times you can go to the other Bollinger Band. Don't do it on the top coming down the other way because markets go up longer than they come down. But this works sometimes on the downside. Look right here. You had right here, this bar, you had a close outside the Bollinger Bands. The next one was inside. So that would have been a good signal too. There's bad signals too. There's I went back and there's ones that don't work out. But the ones recently have worked out. But in any event, whenever you hit the bottom Bollinger Band and you can't get a trend started like this, what month was that? That was April of this year. They hit bottom Bollinger. They went down like 3 times in a row, but then as soon as they popped back through Bollinger, back on the upside, that right there is a low risk entry. Your target's the other side. Stop loss is right there. But anyway, so back to August. In August, you had that condition. You could have got faked out like right here. Here's the signal that didn't work. This one right here, then it closed inside. That one would not have worked. You would have got stopped out for a loss. But then 3 days later, or 4 days later, you had another signal right there. And that one would have worked out very nice. And then that one would have worked out very nice. I went back and tested it. It's about 50-50 like anything else, but it is something I really keep an eye on. I really keep an eye on because those are really good times to potentially do what you guys did in Yield Max. All right, let's see here. Let's go back here. Or do what Retired Cop did in Yield Max, I meant to say. That's a great time to do it. So anyway, I'll have content. Next time I see a pattern like that, I'll have content and we'll probably do a trade. We'll probably set a trade up for a thing. Okay, I'm gonna show you one more thing and then I'm gonna let you go if you guys don't have questions. But speaking of trades, I think today's pullback may have been a good buying opportunity. And I had on my Let's Bone Up on options, I actually suggested a trade based on that today's pullback was a viable dip, and by next Friday, we'll be back up. Today's pullback went right inside the gap after the Trump victory. Let's go back to the charts. That gap, I think the markets should be really strong above it and weak below it, but it ought to serve as support. Let me get on the SPY here and show you kind of what I was thinking. The neighbor's cat's out. So you can probably hear her meowing. I've got my dogs trained well enough where they don't chase the cat, which is good. Thank you, guys. They don't chase the deer either. Jax does sometimes, but he's not supposed to. All right. I guess maybe let's do this on the 30-minute chart. I thought I had a... Oh, I did. Okay. These two red lines are the gap from the night, from between Monday night and Tuesday. We barely dipped into there on these 30-minute time periods. Then it shot us back out of there. I'm just saying I'm using that. And plus it gave the signal I was just telling you guys about, but not on the daily time frame. It gave it on the 30-minute time frame. But I think I'm looking for 600 next week. And I'm wrong if it gets underneath. If it gets underneath this gap, if we hit 578 first, I'm wrong. And when you use options, I don't use stop losses. I just buy the option. The option's your stop loss. I spend the same amount that I would use for a stop loss if it were stock or futures. So I wouldn't really sell it if it hit under 578 because sometimes it could come right back. But basically, your goose would be cooked at that point. But anyway, the reason I wanted to show you that is let me show you I think this is a real interesting way to do that trade. And I want to show it to you guys in case you didn't catch my bone up with option show. Here it is. I just did it today. Loaded dice, bullish trade, SPY for next week for November 22nd. It's the 575, 578, 596 custom, otherwise known as loaded dice max convexity special. All right. So what we did, what you can do, what I'm trying to illustrate here with these loaded dice trades, when I did this like 2:00 this afternoon, it gave me from the current price where the market was at, it gave me a 1.4% buffer before I lost money. The SPY would have to get under like 578. So I drew a line on the map right there. That blue line is our head start. So we're buying the market, but we're buying the market. We think it's going to go up here. All right. So we'll use an option position to essentially buy the market instead of buying stock. Think it's going to go up here, but this right here, this line, we don't lose money. If the market, even after we buy it, if the market turns and goes straight down and stops there, but doesn't cross under the line, we don't lose any money. You can be wrong and not lose any money, which is really badass. You can also earn an income, which is really badass. So speaking of the income, we'll look at the thing. The income was $196 on $1,600 risk. So it's about 12% return on your investment. have unlimited upside, limited downside. You have asymmetry. You have convexity. This is a badass way to play a dip. If you did it, I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I really am going to let you go. If you did it the normal way, if you didn't know how to do options or you didn't know how to do spreads, I mean, everyone knows how to YOLO a call, but if you didn't know how to do spreads and you're like, I don't need any of that bullshit. I don't need any of that bullshit. Just give me the damn call. I just want the damn call. You could do that. Absolutely. There it is. Right there. Hang on a second. Let's get that. Let's make the profit and loss agree, though. How much were we risking in the other trade, though? We were risking $1,600. But see, we're risking $1,600, but we have a 78% chance of winning. So we're only really risking the inverse of that, which is 22. So 20, okay, so then you take 22% of 1,600 of the total risk. So that is about 400. A $400 option position is roughly equivalent. So watch this. There we go, $430 option position, roughly equivalent. Okay, great. Problem is, though, you need the damn thing to move. You don't have an income. Now you have an outgo. You just have to spend $430 instead of making what do we make? 196. You got to get $430 out of your pocket, and then you need to pray that NAB market moves more than 2.1% before you even start making any money. Okay, but then you can make money, but same thing you can do in this one. You can make money, but you don't have to worry about getting the money out of your pocket. You get a huge head start. You guys get why this is a good trade. I'll stop. Hopefully I've hit oil. I'll stop drilling, right? All right. Well, let's check out the questions, and I'm going to let you guys get out of here. You guys got any plans for the weekend? I'm trying to think what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch football. My Sooners suck so bad. I don't know. Man, the Sooners suck this year. I don't know who the Horns play. I'm also kind of a quasi Longhorn fan. I especially like them in years that my Sooners aren't doing well. I really appreciate you guys being here. What do we have here? We have Anthony Scamathini here. Congratulations from Hutto. Kick ass. We got somebody from Hutto on here. Cool. I don't have very many Texans on this show. There was a guy that used to comment that was from Bee Cave, and then another guy from Georgetown comments occasionally. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Did you get your buck? Kick ass. You could sit here on my porch and get all the bucks you wanted. I mean, if it wasn't in the city and you get arrested. But I mean, I have bucks. I had a beautiful 9-point trophy buck here last Saturday morning. I woke up. It's beautiful. All right, let's see. Thomas is asking, or no, not Thomas. Retired Cop is saying, Max, have you ever traded OPM, other people's money? What does OPM mean? Other people? I've never done it legally. I've never been a money manager. But I was a stockbroker, and I told people what to do with their money. But and I've de facto traded lots of money before. But no, if that means other people's money, that means no. Privately, yeah, privately, I wouldn't admit privately. I had, of course, because it's being recorded. So no, I haven't done that privately. All right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for being here. Hit me up in the comments if you guys have any more questions. I haven't been on Discord in a while. I'm thinking about making my own Discord. I don't know. I need to figure out the Max Factor stuff, and if I'm going to make my own Discord. I'm trying to make the Max group more cohesive, and I don't know. I'm trying to figure out some stuff to do with us. But anyway, I'll have more on that this weekend. But anyway, be looking for a video. I have a real good video about this called the Dragon Portfolio. You guys have probably heard about that before. I'm imagining maybe Thomas knows about it, and some of you guys do. Anyway, I want to give you guys my take on the Dragon portfolio this week. And it also ties in with something that I'm going to try to get Jay to help us on the Dragon portfolio too. Anyway, be looking for the Dragon portfolio video out this weekend. And then also I have another couple of videos coming out as well that I'm working on. So definitely be looking for those. And like I say, I really appreciate you guys for being here, and be here next Friday. We're going to do it every Friday. Fridays are the best days, right? BYOB. All right, what's Surf and Wine saying? If you're 100% drip, it is better to just own the underlying, or does it dollar cost average? Oh, I didn't know. Sometimes I don't know if you guys are talking to each other or if they're asking that to me. Okay. Well, 100% drip just means you're automatically loading it back in there. The problem is, okay, the 100% drip helps with one cause of depletion, but not with the other. The thing that helps with the other is owning the underlying. Here's what I think. This is based on a study too, and I know I keep promising to regenerate this study, but I did the thing about 4 investors, and I showed different money management techniques. I showed a guy with Tesla, and he came out ahead even after the shitty year Tesla had. All he did was he kept half of the money in cash. I think he maybe took half of it and put it back in Tesla, and then he took the other half and bought shares of Tesla with it. Well, anyway, even after the bad year Tesla had, this was like in May, I did this, he was up like 34%, and it beat any other money management technique. Owning the underlying is always a good technique. Here's the thing though. If you already have a couple $1 million worth of stock, if you have a good job, you've been working, you're my age, you have plenty of underlyings. Even if you don't have Tesla, you have plenty of exposure to the market going up. So yeah, go get Tesla and whatever. I mean, I don't know that you necessarily have to offset, to necessarily have Tesla long if you have Tesla at the same time. I think it can make a nice combination. I think here's where the people get in problems. The people that don't have a portfolio, that are 30, that haven't started saving yet, they go buy Tesla. They need to be buying Tesla, right? But that's where the problem is. Somebody that's my age that's saved, you shouldn't have a problem, because you have you guys get this concept, right? If you're all in high yield, you don't have any you leave too much growth on the table. So I don't know necessarily that it's important, but I think for some people it's nice to get to have their Tesla balanced out by actual shares in Tesla. Now, here's another thing. If you don't want to mess with that or whatever, when these Dorsey Wright funds come out, they're going to revolutionize everything. Then all you have to do is go get the Dorsey Wright funds, because they're going to keep you. I think they keep half and half, or 40-60 or something. But anyway, Dorsey Wright's really, really, really exciting. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for being here, Retired Cop. I really do. All right, guys. You guys have a good day, and I will see you this weekend. Be watching for that Dragon video and leave me a comment, okay? Hey, give me a thumbs up, maybe. I always forget to say that. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to Option Strat, and there's a freaking 8-point buck right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's a 7-point buck. Let me see if you guys can see him. I don't know if I'll get Wi-Fi here across the street. Okay, there he is. He's looking straight at us. There's 2. There's some smaller ones, but I don't know if you guys can see him. Can you see him? Hopefully you can see him. All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.